The departmental government issued today Decree 0419, by which August 1st is declared a civic day in the archipelago of San Andres Providence and Santa Catalina.
Taking into account that Law 2192 of January 6 of 2022 established the 1st of August Day of the Emancipation of the Racial People of the Archipelago as the National Day of the Racial People, and that in addition through the Ordinance 012 of 2003, for which the Departmental Assembly established the date of 1st of August of each year as the Day of the Emancipation of the Racial People, ordering to commemorate this day in homage of the ancestors who liberate themselves from enslavement, the departmental government issued today's decree declaring this date as a civic holiday in the island as follows. First, declare Monday, 1st of August 2022 as a civic holiday to commemorate the Day of the Emancipation of the Racial People. Second, invite the racial people, residents and tourists to actively participate in the activities and cultural programming to be developed by the Secretariat of Culture, the transmission through regional channels and social networks of the official character of the government of the archipelago, Department of San Andres, Providence, and Santa Catalina. Third, there will be no work activities in the public agencies and entities of the department, other so that their public servants attend the events and activities programs. Fourth, exception are those entities that by their nature and mission have as their objective the provision of services that demand unquestionable attention to the inhabitants of the island. Let us remember that this date is of great cultural and historical significance, being a source of pride and joy for the racial population of the archipelago of San Andres, Old Providence, and Santa Catalina, and one of the most representative dates of the racial people.
This afternoon, the Departmental Peace Council was held, where the attendees sought to define an action plan to implement in the insular territory.
Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the auditorium of the Coral Palace, the Departmental Peace Council began, a space for citizen participation that fulfills the function of advising governments in the execution of actions for peace building, reconciliation, non-stigmatization, and in general in the implementation of the peace agreement, chaired by the departmental government through the Secretariat of Government, with special guests such as advisors from the Presidency of the Republic, from the Office of the High Commissioner for Peace.
They are in the process of approving and incorporating some changes that were made to the internal manual of the committee and the council. There are things that are very important in the logic of the action plan. One is the projects that the government has one on peace issues, but another is the dynamics of the committee and the peace council. In this logic, what they are going to do is to unite the two visions and work together so that the language of peace and the actions of peace and pedagogy are incorporated into the idiosyncrasy of each of the inhabitants of this territory.
Within the Council, the establishment of a roadmap for the creation of a human rights observatory for the archipelago was analyzed.
And in a symbolic act to honor the memory of the police officers murdered in the last days and to reject any violent action that attempts against life, with a candlelit, the National Police and the community met at 6 in the afternoon.
As a rejection of the murders of police officials in recent days and so far this year, the National Police on the island, in an action of solidarity with those affected and their families, gathered together with members of the community in a candlelight event.
The police command in San Andres and all the men and women that make up this unit, we are in solidarity at this time with all those families, with the orphans, with the widows, with those parents who unfortunately at this moment are suffering the loss and departure of their children who were policed. What this generates in us is a commitment to stand up, to build a country, and to continue sustaining democracy.
More than 35 national police officials have been killed with firearms so far in 2022 in Colombia.
This hurts us a lot. Of course, it hurts us as policemen, but it also generates a commitment not only with the families, but with our brothers and sisters. And we are going to neutralize all those murderers who harmed and committed these crimes in an infamous way.
The community of the island and all the military forces join in this event.
Today, on behalf of all the men and women of the specific command of San Andres and Old Providence, we want to send a greeting of solidarity to the families of the victims of our police officers. The attacks that our police officers have suffered in recent days throughout the national territory are why we are here gathered today.
In other news, the governor of the archipelago sent a message of support to the entire National Police Force due to the criminal acts that threaten the integrity of the members of this institution.
For Governor Everett Harkins, it is inconceivable that criminal acts against the integrity of the members of the National Police continue to occur in the country.
Rechazo categóricamente.
I categorically reject all the attacks and deaths that have occurred against our police institution and its members. It cannot be that this country allows and continues to allow our heroes to continue to fall by the will of those bad citizens who do not allow the institutionality to prevail. Institutionality for us must prevail, as is the political constitution. The lives of all these agents, patrolmen, captains, and all ranks must prevail forever. I am very saddened and sorry for what has happened to the families who are the ones who are left suffering. A huge support to our General Vargas for all the work, and especially to Colonel Maria Elena, who is with me fighting against the crimes of the archipelago, and with the police, our support forever.
Let us remember that last October 31st of 2021, in our department, there was an act of intolerance that ended in the death by firearm of two of the agents who participated in an operation prompted by calls from the neighbors of the Rocky Key sector.
And in commemoration of the Vaccination Week of the Americas, the departmental government will conduct a complete vaccination drive where the insular community will be able to complete their vaccination schedules.
The Health Secretariat will organize this July 30th a full vaccination drive from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. under the slogan, "A Day to Be Up to Date," where it seeks to complete the vaccination schedules free of charge in children and adolescents and older adults.
On this occasion, we will complete the vaccination schedule for all children who have not completed their vaccination. We will be looking over their vaccination cards, and based on what we see according to their age, we will complete their schedule with any of the vaccines available in the vaccination schedule in Colombia. All children under 5 years old can receive all the vaccines that are required. On the other hand, for pregnant women, we will apply the vaccine against influenza and whooping cough. Also, the elderly population will be able to receive their influenza vaccine if they haven't received it as yet. Similarly, the COVID vaccine will also be administered.
During the drive, additional doses for measles and rubella will also be applied. The drive will take place at 9 points of the island, 4 fixed sites where the community can come to request their doses: Manawar Park, Departmental Hospital, the Island Medical Centers, Police and National Army Health Center. In addition, the other 5 points will operate under the modality of house-to-house vaccination in the sectors of San Luis, Occasion Cal, and surrounding areas, Guinea Hen, 5th Stage, and surrounding areas, Limbal and Cove.
A new decision on the fate of Sunrise Park was taken yesterday afternoon by the Assembly, an initiative that seeks to revive this recreational space of the department.
The Departmental Assembly, through the Government Committee, approved the draft ordinance that empowers Governor Everett Harkins to give Sunrise Park in concession through a public bidding process.
Yesterday in the Assembly, we approved the concession at the Sunrise Park. The idea of this is make the space from the park continue be one recreative place where the children and families can find somewhere to enjoy themselves, to get together. So, we give the governor, the faculty, for 1 year, we can find a private entity that take care of this park and we can recover it. And also, the entity will have a time that they're going to administrate it, that they can recover the inversion.
Assembly President Orly Rosso stated the benefits that the approval of this project will bring to the island.
¿Qué beneficios tendrá la comunidad?
What benefits will the community have? At last, we, the families and our children, we will be able to have an area for entertainment and amusement. This park has gone through a cumbersome process where many resources have been invested and still has not been enabled for the community to enjoy this park.
The deputies of the Assembly stated that it is in the hands of Governor Everett Hawkins to find an operator that guarantees the sustainability of the park and the feasibility of its operation.
And in compliance with its functions, the Secretary of Infrastructure advances the cleaning of the drains in different sectors of the department.
In the circuit channel of the by pedestrian walkway as well as the schoolhouse sector, the Department of Infrastructure and Public Works is advancing cleaning works with the purpose of preventing flood emergencies during the rainy season as well as the hurricane season.
Con el motivo de cumplir con todo lo que...
In order to comply with everything that is established in the development plan, All for a New Beginning, the Infrastructure Secretariat is in the cleaning of drains in order to have them in good function and not wait for the rainy season. We are keeping the most critical drains clean and we are keeping an eye on them in order to have everything in order.
The cleaning crew carry out the removal of mud and solid waste that cause obstruction, clogging, and the limitation of the flow of the rainwater in the drainage system. This work will improve the circulation of water, facilitating that the rainy season there is a rapid evacuation through the drainage channel.
Now it's time for news from the municipality of Providence and Santa Catalina.
Good evening to all our viewers. This is the most relevant information from Old Providence and Catalina. After more than 500 days since the establishment of the Camp for Dignity, in recent days, the judicial inspection of the Coast Guard property located at the mouth of Bowden Creek was carried out.
In the presence of Magistrate Jesus Guerrero Gonzalez, members of Coralina's Board of Directors, representatives of the National Navy, and representatives of fishermen, a judicial inspection of the Coast Guard property adjacent to the Fish and Farm Fisherman Co-op took place. In a meeting with the participants, the magistrate listened to the parties involved.
A diligence requested by part of the Ministry of Defense, and the magistrate had the opportunity to visit the property to know the place where the Army had been installed and where it continues, and held a session in the Camp for Dignity.
Last year, a precautionary measure was decreed and the suspension of the construction activities for the Coast Guard station based in that property.
The ancestral use of this territory was remembered, the importance of maintaining this zone as an area where the fishing economy is developed, which is fundamental in the structure and organization of the Rizal community.
On the other hand, Coralina also exposed the environmental inconveniences.
Coralina recalled all the structure and organization of the area in which they are located. It made a cartographic analysis in which they expressed that there is no place left where they can build.
For now, the community is waiting for a final decision on this process that has been going on for more than a year.
And in other news, the Resilient Islands project for the ecological restoration of the ecosystems affected by Hurricane Iota, which is being carried out by Mas Bosques and Coralina, is progressing at a good pace in the municipality.
Sheds and mangroves are part of the areas being restored as part of the agreement between Mas Bosques and Coralina for the ecological restoration of ecosystems affected by Iota.
We are trying to recover the ecosystems through nursery and planting actions. We have planting of polygons, and we are trying to reestablish the ecological networks that were lost.
Trees that are being planted are the same species from the Biosphere Reserve.
All the species that were here, that grew here, and that are native to the place and that fulfill a function which were predetermined by a series of studies after the hurricane that were done by different institutions such as Invemar, Humboldt, the scientific expeditions, and they were the ones that prioritized this first step.
The seedlings come from a nursery in Coralina and Farmers Association in both islands.
It is a socio-ecological process, so it is important to agree with the population, because if we don't do everything together, this will not be effective. We have 121 families in our protected area who are supporting the nursery and planting processes.